The reason you don't put yourself and your business ideas out there more is because you see rejection as a personal failure. Now, this is because you would have grown up as a hypervigilant child where you learned from a very young age to mask, cosplay, to reverse engineer who you thought the people around you needed you to be so you could become that and then secure their love and attention. You learned to people please, you learned to emotionally regulate the room, you learned how to say the right things, you learned to read body cues and signs to work out what kind of version of yourself you needed to present as in order to secure this approval. So from a very young age, rejection became a threat to your survival. It meant you had done your job wrong. And so this is why you often go back into hiding and you go and you work out and you try and ideate more and you try and perfect your ideas. You procrastinate putting yourself out there. You're trying to work out how you're meant to be everything to everyone at the same time as feeling like you really don't want to be everything to everyone because you know how exhausting it is. So it's this back and forth kind of fight between an old survival, very, very clever protective mechanism which allowed you to become the versions of yourself other people needed you to be so you could have your survival needs met, versus this adult version of you that is now craving to let your authentic self be seen, let your ideas be heard, create the body of work that you know the world needs and you are here to be recognized for. So your work lies in making rejection so safe to experience that being seen as yourself no longer becomes the threat to getting your needs met. You start to untangle yourself from needing other people's external validation and approval at all costs with your right to exist, with your right to take up space, with your right to be seen and loved and not loved by other people. It's learning to realize that all the unmet needs and the adults in your life as a child that weren't able to meet your needs were not a result of you not being the correct person. Because this is exactly why rejection feels so unsafe now, is because you believed that the reason you didn't get the things that you needed met, the reason you didn't feel safe or seen or loved or whatever it might have been, was because of who you were being and you not being enough or you being too much or whatever it might be, instead of simply a mismatch between what those parental figures were able to give you versus what you needed. That is not your shame to carry. That is not your responsibility to carry. And this isn't also to say that your parents were necessarily wrong. We could have had incredibly loving parents that tried their best, but there was a mismatch in what they were capable of giving and what we needed. So if this resonates, hi, my name is Meg and I help ambitious content creators, entrepreneurs, visionaries, artists like yourself how to actually make it feel safe to be seen so you can grow this body of work that you know you're here to be known for. So if that sounds like you, make sure that you're following me, and then for additional support you can head to the link in my bio to check out my one-to-one sessions. Mwah.